Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Muphidaht and I would like it if you click down below to subscribe to my channel. So today we're going to be doing a full face makeup tutorial for beginners. It's going to be super detailed. This is going to be a long video. I just want to get straight into it. If you want to see how this video goes down, carry on watching and let's get right into it. Okay guys, so we are gonna start off with the brows. What you want to do is make sure that the brow area is free from any oil or grease or something that's gonna make it slip and slide, because putting a brow product on something that's slipping and sliding, it's not really the easiest. My brows are microbladed, but I'm gonna show you guys how I like to fill them in anyway. So I'm going into my Laura Mercier translucent honey powder. I'm gonna use my sponge, my makeup sponge from Evita Joseph. I'm just going to push the powder into my brow area just to, absorb any oils and just make sure that the brow product is able to latch onto my brow hairs so that the product can, show up and not slip and slide. So after I put the powder on my brows, I'm just gonna use a spoolie and I am brushing my brow hairs up. I'm gonna use my brow pencil. This is from Evita Joseph. Also, it's in the shade Rich Expresso. Pro tip is, if you are going to be filling out your brows, you want to use a brow product that's closest to your hair color. Also, the most common product to use for your brows is a dark brown eyebrow pencil, which is very flattering for most skin tones, especially for black women, for women of color. It's often very common to find that we use a dark brown product for our brows. So of course I'm gonna be using a dark brown eyebrow product. So I'm gonna just go to the bottom of my brow. I am literally just tracing the shape of my brow, and then you realize that I just didn't draw one straight line down the bottom part of my brows. I was doing short strokes. And it's often the best to do short strokes so that you do not mess up. So I'm gonna go to the top of my brow, but I'm not going to start from the actual end of this brow. I'm gonna start somewhere here. Now I'm just going to lightly fill the ends in. I'm not gonna fill in this much because, like I said, my brows are microbladed and I don't really need to do much to them. So as you can see, this brow looks fuller than this brow, and that's how I like my brows to look. So I'm gonna do the same to this side. I'm gonna start off from the bottom and just follow the shape to the end, like so. And then I'm going to start from here. As you can see, I'm not starting from the beginning of the brow, just starting from here. Putting a powder over your brows before, or making sure there's no product around your brow, is easier to do. Like, it's easier to draw your brows or to fill in your brows like that, because the product just latches onto the brow hairs and the areas around the brows, and it just makes everything really easy. So what you want to do is go back in with your spoolie and then brush the brow product through your brows, and you want to go back in with your brow product just to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. I especially like to make sure the ends of my brows are very filled in. I'm just going to go back in with the spoolie and I'm just blending in the brow product. So I'm going to go ahead and sculpt my brows. What you want to do is go in with a concealer that is 2 to 3 shades lighter than your actual skin tone to sculpt out the bottom part of your brows. So I'm going in with my Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Warm Sand. This is lighter than me, of course. So I'm going to go in with a flat brush like this. Personally, I like to use brushes that have a curve at the top part to sculpt my brows out, and it has to be flat. So what you want want to do is to dip your brush into your concealer. Do not have too much product on your brush, otherwise you can't sculpt your brows out. Make sure that the product is evenly distributed on your brush. Just tap off any excesses at the back of your hand, and then you want to start off from here. Again, short strokes. Personally, I like to go back, and this is so frustrating. My camera cut off for me, guys, but no worries. I'm going to go ahead and explain what I did. What I did was I sculpted out my brows. I used a concealer that was 2 to 3 shades lighter than me to sculpt the bottom part of my brows. Now for sculpting out the top part of my brows, I used a little bit of my foundation, the concealer that was left on the brush, to do the top part of my brows so that it will be easier for me to blend it out. So we're gonna do eyes first today. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of concealer on my eyelids, the concealer that I used to sculpt out my brows, and I'm going to go ahead and buff it into my eyelids just to prime them. There are eyeshadow primers available on the market, but I just feel like concealers also do a little bit of the same work. Eyeshadow primers mostly self-set, but concealers do not self-set. So what you want to do is when you apply your concealer, you want to go ahead and use a little bit of translucent powder. So I'm literally going to dip my brush in here, and I'm going to go ahead and push it into my eyelid just to set my concealer that I put on there to prime my eyelids. Essentially, priming the eyelids also just creates a uniform canvas so that whatever eyeshadow you apply just applies smoothly and just pops and just shows up on your skin. That's the whole reason for priming the eyelids. So I'm gonna do an eye look with you guys today. What you need is just an eyeshadow blending brush. I'm gonna go ahead and use my CVL Beauty blending brush. I'm gonna use my Jackie Aina X Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palette. I'm gonna be using these 2 shades. What you want to know is that if you are applying eyeshadow into your crease or outer V area, which is this portion, this is your crease. The area after your brow bone is your crease. This is your eyelid area, literally where you feel your eyeball. That is your eyelid area, and this is your outer V. So your crease or your outer V, you don't want to put shimmers there. Shimmers are essentially this eyeshadow colors right here. These are shimmers. As you can see, they have shiny, sparkly stuff, and then you don't want to put those into your crease or on your outer V. That's a mistake. What you want to do is use matte colors like this. These ones do not have any shimmer in them. And for a beginner, I always suggest that you often just use browns or dark browns in your crease. So I'm going to show you guys a very simple look to do. We're going to use essentially just 3 colors. So I'm going to go into my very dark color, which is this color right here. This is the shade Credit. So I'm going to go ahead and just dump that into my outer V, which would be this area right here. I'm going to go ahead and just blend it inwards like so, and a little bit outwards like so as well. So you just want to keep doing this motion. You don't want to take it too up to your brow bone. That would be a mistake. Just stay within your crease, within your outer V area as well. As you can see, I'm just trying to stay within that area, and you just want to slightly bring it out like so. So you see what I've done here. So you want to do the same to this side of your eye. Put your brush in your color, and then you just stamp it right here closest to your lash line. This is your lash line, closest to it. You want to bring it out. Do not take it close to your brow bone, just keep it right here. So this is what it should look like when you are done. So as you can see, there's a little bit of smoke and it should look like this. That's why I said you should blend outwards. Do not let it come here, please guys, just let it stay right here. So you want to use the same brush and then you go into your second matte color. I told you guys that we are using just 3 colors, so I'm gonna go into the shade Ginger right here, and I'm gonna dip my brush into Ginger, and I'm gonna put Ginger right over here, right after the very smoky color, not on it, just right after it. And then I'm just going to blend it. This is gonna be like a very wearable look. That's why I'm creating this video. I'm gonna be creating so many videos with a lot of wearable looks and dramatic looks for beginners, so you guys should just be looking out for that. I'm just going back and forth, and as you can see, there's a very nice gradient going on here, which I love. So again, my camera disrespected me, but what I did was I went into a shimmer. I went into this shimmer called Sponsored, this one right here. I put it onto my eyelids like so with a flat brush, or you can even use your finger just to put it on your eyelid, and this is what you should have on your eyelid. Just a really simple eye look. So we're gonna move on to the next step. I'm going to go ahead and put some eyeliner onto my eyelids. I'm just going to start from the inner corners, and I'm just going to drag it as close to my lash line as possible. I'm not going to create a wing. I'm just doing this to be able to put false lashes on my eyelid, and I feel like it looks flattering like this. So in makeup, to be able to get like accurate lines, and you want to just do short strokes. So yeah, that's about it for the eyeliner. You see, it just brings everything together, right? So I'm going to go ahead and apply my false eyelashes. I'm gonna use a new pair of lashes so I can show you guys how to apply it. So what you want to do is to grab your eyelash and you want to measure it across your eyelids just to make sure like it looks good, and this looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim the empty sides. Let me show you guys the empty sides of the eyelash right here. So I'm going to trim those ends because sometimes they make my eyelid uncomfortable and they just poke me. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply some glue onto my lash band, and then you want to place your eyelash down after you've coated your lash band. We're gonna grab the second eyelash. This one definitely has more space with no eyelashes, so I'm going to grab those and just trim them off. So in case I didn't show you guys, I hope this is focused, but this is the lash band. This right here is the lash band. So I'm going to put some glue on those areas, and you want to put your lashes down so that the glue gets tacky. So I'm gonna grab my eyelash that's tacky already, and I'm gonna use my tweezers. I'm going to put a mirror here literally, and then I'm going to place the eyelash as close to my lash line as possible. Okay. Okay, so we are done with the eyes for now. I literally do not remember the last time I did my brows and my eyes before my face. It's been so long. So what you want to do now is to prime. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Milk Hydro Grip primer, and I'm gonna blend this into my skin. Before you do your makeup, always make sure that you apply your skincare and everything else, because skincare is really important. I have applied my primer. My primer is now settled into my skin. I'm gonna go ahead and apply my foundation foundation. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Foundation. I'm gonna use 2 pumps of this. I pump it at the back of my hand because personally I like to spread out the foundation on my skin before I, buff it into my skin. That's what I like to do to make sure that it's evenly covered everything on my skin. So I'm just using a flat brush. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend it into my skin with a brush. You can use a beauty blender to blend your foundation into your skin, but I am more of a brush girl. So when blending your foundation, you want to make sure that you blend it on your chin. You don't want to just blend it here and leave this part, otherwise it's gonna look like you have a mask on your face. For my forehead, personally, I don't like to put a lot of product on there, so I'm just gonna use a little bit of foundation, and that's about it for the products I'm gonna be applying on my forehead. And as you can see, it's just blending into and around my brow area. As you can see, you can't see any line of demarcation around the brow area. It literally just blends into my foundation. That is why it's always important to use a little bit of concealer and the foundation you're using that day to blend in or to clean up the top part of your brows. So I'm gonna go in with a beauty blender just to take off any excess product. I always suggest that you don't use too much foundation under your eyes and on your forehead because it just looks muddy. Plus, you're going to be using concealer under your eyes, so it's definitely not advisable to put too much product there. Otherwise, you're going to be creasing a whole lot. I'm going to go ahead and conceal and highlight my face. I'm going to use my Born This Way concealer in the shade Warm Sand. I'm going to put it on my under eye, the bridge of my nose, my forehead, as well as my chin and mustache area. I'm gonna let that sit just because I want a little more coverage. For contouring also, I'm gonna be using my Huda Beauty Tantour Cream Bronzer. I'm applying that onto my cheekbones, the sides of my forehead, that's my temples, and then my chin. I'm also gonna be applying a little bit the sides of my nose, the bridge of my nose, just to, contour that area. I'm going to go ahead and blend my contour out with my Morphe E4 brush. I'm gonna blend that into my hairline. What's on my forehead, that is. I'm gonna blend that into my hairline so that there's a nice transition from my hairline onto my forehead. So as you can see, the transition is a little more even. For the cheekbones, I'm gonna blend it upwards. You don't want to have your cheekbone contour just drooping downwards, otherwise it's gonna drag your face downwards as well. So you just want to be as precise as possible. You want to use a slanted brush like this. This is actually like a really good brush to blend out. I have one from Real Techniques that also slants this way, which is great for blending the contour. I'm gonna go ahead and blend my chin as well. I'm blending my highlights with my contour brush from Real Techniques, if I didn't mention. I like to use brushes because they give me the kind of precision that I want, the kind of coverage that I want. I use a mixture of brushes and sponges in reality, but I always prefer to use brushes. I am blending what's under my eyes. I'm going to go in with my sponge to take off any excess products and do some extra blending, especially what's on my nose. The problem with doing your eyes and your brows before doing your face is that when you're blending, you have to be more careful so that you do not mess up what you've created. So I'm going to go ahead and blend out what's under my eyes. I'm going to go back in with my contour brush. As you can see, the highlights went a little into my hairline, but I'm trying to create a gradient. So I just like to go back into my contour brush just to smoothen everything out. I do not put any more product on my brush. I just use what is remaining on it just to do this. And then I also go here around my chin, just to make sure that it's nice and seamless. I'm also gonna go into my foundation brush, and then I'm gonna go around my hairline and my contour, around my mouth, just to make sure that everything is nice and seamless. You really want to focus on this side. This side is my hyperpigmentation showing. I don't mind it showing, honestly. I have this melasma patch there that doesn't want to go away. So yeah, that's about it for the blending. I'm going to go ahead and set. So for setting my face, I'm gonna go ahead and use my sponge and my setting powder that I used earlier from Mercier. So before I set, I like to make sure that there are no creases on my under eye area. So I just like to go back into the brush. There's like a line of demarcation between my crease and my nose contour, so I just went in and just, you know, joined that. When you are contouring your nose, you want to start from under your brow, and you want to make sure that it connects with your crease color like this, so that makes sense. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but hopefully you do. So I'm gonna go ahead and push my powder under my eyes. You want to tap off any excess. I forgot to mention that, so I tap off the excess at the back of my hand, and I'm just pushing the powder in there to set. Now my under eyes are nice and set. I'm going to go ahead and set everywhere else that I applied the concealer to. Do not forget to set the sides of the nose, otherwise it's gonna get really cakey. Also the forehead and around the eyebrow. So for beginners, I always suggest that you do not bake, because pushing the powder in is ideal, because sometimes dusting off the powder after baking is not really the easiest thing. So once you push the powder into your skin and you realize that everything is nice and set, especially where you put your concealer, you want to stop there. So you want to set, especially with where you put your concealer, you want to use like a loose powder to set those areas. So we're going to move ahead and set the entire face. For the rest of my face, I'm going to go ahead and set with the pressed powder. I'm using the Airbrush Flawless Finish Micro Powder. So I'm gonna apply some bronzer. I'm gonna use my Fenty Beauty bronzer. Essentially, I'm gonna apply it everywhere I applied my cream bronzer, just to set it. Also to bring back some warmth onto my face, I'm gonna use my Real Techniques blush brush. You wanna be light-handed with your bronzer as much as possible. So when you dip your brush into it, you wanna tap off any excesses and you wanna put it right on your cheekbones, just like so. And you wanna do it upwards, just like so. Some people will do this. Also, you want to apply it onto your temples and the forehead and hairline, just to give like a very nice gradient. Also your jawline and chin, just to bring some warmth back. And that's about it for the bronzer. Now I'm gonna go ahead and bronze my nose as well. From the eyebrows, connect with the eyeshadow in your crease, and you want to drag it down the sides of the bridge of your nose, just like this. Also, the brush I'm using is slightly slanted, just like so, so it's easier to do this. So to clean up the nose contour, you want to just dip your sponge back and you just want to squeeze it and just bring it to the sides of the bridge of your nose. And then also you just want to squeeze it a little bit more and just put it at the center of your nose, just like so, just to clean it up. And you want to go back in with your brush that you used to contour and just clean up a little bit. And you just want to allow this to sit on your face so that it just takes shape. So yeah, that's a little tip that I want to throw out there for you guys. So for blush, I'm gonna use my Pillow Talk from Charlotte Tilbury, the Cheek to Chic Swish and Glow blusher. I'm gonna use the same brush I used to apply my bronzer. This is the blush brush from Real Techniques. It's the 400 brush. So what you want to do is just swish into the product, tap off any excesses, and you want to again apply it upwards like so from your cheekbone, so here, and then apply it upwards like so. So you realize there's a little bit more fullness on this side of my face than this side. It's a little bit full here, so that's the point of blush. You want to apply it upwards. You want to put a little bit on your nose. Personally, I love to do this. And now we're gonna finish up the eye makeup. I like to go in with a black eyeliner, and then I put it into my inner corner, and I like to drag it back and forth just like so, just to tightline my eyes. I don't know if you guys can tell, but this does the job of tightlining the top and the bottom part of your eyes. It just gives your eyes an intensity. If you do not want this look, you can go ahead and just leave it, but I like this type of look, the smoky look. So I'm gonna do same to this eye. and then you have that nice definition. Do this with a little bit of caution. You don't want to push too hard when you are doing it. You just want to leave it in between your eyelids and just drag it back and forth. You don't want to drag it too hard. You don't want to hurt yourself. Please do not hurt yourselves whilst doing this. So I'm gonna go in with just a small brush like this. I'm gonna go back into the second color that I put in my crease, which is the shade Ginger, this one. So I'm just going to use that to smoke out the bottom part of my, when I say smoke out, I'm going to just blend in the dark eye color that I used, just to make sure that it's not as defined as it looked before. It looks a little bit more smoky. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but this is what it should look like afterwards. So this part is smoky and this part looks a little more defined. So I'm gonna do same here. It's literally easier to do. So you see the color that I put on my lid, you can actually switch out the color if you want to. It goes with every look, like the crease colors, the browns and the flesh toned colors go with a lot of colors in eyeshadow palettes. So it's very, very easy to do. You can switch out the lid color, that's a shimmery color, for like a gold or a pink, or I don't know, any color that you want. So go ahead and just dust off my nose contour cleanup. As you guys can see, it just gives a nice definition to the nose. Of course, if you don't want to contour your nose, that's completely fine. I'm done with my base, as in doing like all the powders and everything. So to melt and mix everything together, not like mix everything on your face, but to make everything look more skin-like, more glowy, more natural, even though this is not natural in any way. You just want to use like a setting spray. I'm gonna use my Alnighter setting spray. So as you can see, this is not usually the procedure or the steps that I usually take to do my makeup when I do it, but I still arrive at the same result. So you have to pick and choose what techniques you like to use for your makeup. So just pick and choose what you're comfortable with. So like I said, I like to switch occasionally so that you guys can get comfortable and pick and choose what techniques you like to use. So you're gonna go ahead and finish up this makeup. I usually like to apply mascara onto my lower lashes just because I have top falsies and I don't want to look bold. I'm making these faces so that I do not mess up my makeup. The mascara I use is the Man Eater mascara from Tarte. So I'm gonna apply some highlighter. I personally like to apply highlighter after I have set my face because I feel like it gives me a different type of glow. So I'm gonna apply my highlighter. I'm gonna use a combination of these two highlighters here from my Nude Gasm face palette from Tilbury. I'm gonna put some highlighter into my inner corners just because I love an inner corner highlight. I'm also going to apply some highlighter onto my brow bone. I'm using a small brush like this, a small fluffy brush, so that you do not put the highlighter just anywhere. And if you mistakenly apply too much highlighter, let me show you, like maybe you apply too much highlighter on here just like this, you want to go in with your finger and just, you know, blend it out just to share it out a little bit. So I'm going to apply some highlighter onto the tip of my nose, just like so, and then probably just my Cupid's bow. I'm also going to apply some highlighter onto the top part of my cheekbones, just this side. I'm going to use my brush from Morphe. This is the M451 brush. You want to use a brush like this, fluffy and not dense, very easily bendable so that it can blend out the highlights. I have a brush like this from Color Box Cosmetics. As you can see, it looks like this as well. I have a brush from Evita Joseph that looks like this, very easily blendable, just really fluffy. So you can use any of these brushes to blend out your highlights. You don't want to use a dense brush like this to blend out your highlights. You're gonna carry too much product and it's just gonna look like a streak on your face, and you want to avoid that by all means. So I'm gonna dip my brush into my highlighter, tap off any excess, and I'm going to just do this and then just blend it out. I'm connecting it to my brow bone area, so it has like a C. Just looks like a C, a nice C. And you can see that I just keep doing this to the brush so that it just blends it out very nice. You don't want to have like a streak sitting on your face. You want to have something that looks like this. Nice and blended glow, just like so. Looks really nice. So I'm gonna do same to this side. So this is what it should look like at the end of the day. So I'm gonna move on to the lips. For lips, I'm gonna be creating a nude lip combo, a nude glossy lip combo. I'm just going to follow the natural line of my lip. And the top part. So I'm going to overline my Cupid's bow. Also going to overline the bottom. So this should be what your lip should look like after you've lined it. So for my main lip color, I'm gonna use this nude from Alma Beauty. Is the Badass lipstick, bullet lipstick in the shade Earther. I'm gonna put that here at the center. For the gloss, I'm gonna use my NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Fortune Cookie. I personally like to use a little bit of brow gel just to go through my brows and just make sure that the hairs look nice. Okay, my loves, we've come to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found this video helpful. I also hope that you got some tips and tricks from this video as well. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Everything I use will be listed down below in the description box. Don't forget to like this video and also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in my next one. Take care, guys. Bye.